Welcome to Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod, Living the Dream, a show that celebrates ordinary people who do extraordinary things. Hear what motivated them to attain their goals, see which circumstances molded their character and turned them into everyday heroes. Learn more about this show and the hosts for Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod TV and radio on Facebook. Now here are your hosts, the Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod, Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos and Lori Boyle.
Welcome to Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod. My name is Lori Boyle, and the beautiful blonde at the end of the table is Kat Kanavos, the other Wicked Housewife on Cape Cod. And today we're inviting you into our Wicked Kitchen, where we usually do our cooking shows, but we're going to be doing our interviews here as well because we think it looks nice and cozy. I mean, who doesn't invite your guests into your kitchen when they come over to your house? So anyways, we have a great guest for you today. Her name is Lynda Allen, and Kat is going to tell you a little bit about her.
Yes, we have cooked up quite a show for you right here in our kitchen. And we have Lynda V. Allen Wantani with us today. And Lynda is the founder of Crystal Gardens Children's Learning Center in Hyannis, Massachusetts. And that is the summer home of John F. Kennedy, President John F. Kennedy. So tell us a little bit about your business.
It's an early learning program where right now I have a capacity of about 68 children. Infants, toddlers, preschoolers, kindergarten, after-school children. We take them from 3 months through 10 years.
Oh, that's amazing. That's quite a span. Yes. So you focus mostly on early childhood education.
Yes, we
correct?
do. Yes,
okay.
we do.
And you have a master's in education, and you graduated from Roxbury College, is that correct?
I graduated my high school. I came from Hyde Park High School. I graduated with a bachelor's degree from Regis College in Western, Massachusetts, Weston, Mass, right outside of Waltham. Yes. My concentration was in sociology and a minor in language. I studied Spanish, believe it or not. Asked me to speak some words, and I think I've become a little difficult at it, but I work with young children and that's what they do. They speak Spanish, and we play with it. And so that's how I begin to learn more and more of Spanish. But I'm a sociologist.
And you actually studied that. You taught that at Roxbury College, and that's where you met your husband, Sully.
That's where I met my husband, Sully.
Can you tell us about him?
Yes, I can.
Good.
It'd be a treat. Sully is a wonderful man. He has a degree in political science and jurisprudence. He's a professor there. He has a diploma from Russia, and he speaks 14 different languages. Most of them were self-taught. He has a Master of Law, LLM in International Law, cum laude from the University of Druzhba in Moscow, Russia. He attended Boston University. He attended Bonn University, excuse me. He did attend, I got another degree from Boston University, but he attended Bonn University in West Germany, where the Department of Romance and Language, Cultures, and Comparative Linguistics. He's a faculty of philosophy, double major in political science and jurisprudence, receiving his PhD in political science cum laude, and he's a faculty of jurisprudence. My husband also serves as a senior professor, senior lecturer at Roxbury Community College, where he teaches political science and all those other courses that are associated with it. He's also an adjunct professor of sociology and criminal justice, and ranked as senior lecturer from Curry College in Milton, which he also works in the Plymouth campus. He's a cool guy.
Yes, he certainly is.
Really cool. So he has a degree in Romance language.
Yes, he does.
And so tell us, you were telling me before the show a very romantic story about how he used to slip notes under her door while it was closed and run away.
And really would run away. We somehow or another, we were joined in the Roxbury Community College, where my first encounter with him is he's walking down the hallway, and a friend of mine was standing there, and I'm saying, who is that? And so he came closer, and we asked him the question, where do you work? And he said, well, I'm in the division that's right around the corner, and social science division. And I said, well, I said, so aren't we? So what do you teach? And so we had this conversation. As we began to be colleagues, he had lost his brother, and I lost my brother in different situations, but nevertheless, you know, the loss is a loss. And he would send me beautiful note cards, and he would say to me different things that kind of like gave me words of encouragement. And he'd slip them under my door, and I'd be working at my desk, and all of a sudden you could hear this under my door. And so I'd get up and I'd run to the door, open it up, and there's no one there. He would he would leave. But I saved those cards over the course of the years because he continued to do that as a friend. And it really was enjoyable to see the notes that he had given, he would send to me. There was one note that he sent that I always remember now. And one of the cards, when I open it up, it says, never allow the stare of the crocodile to keep you from crossing the lagoon. And when I get into a very precarious situation, I think about the note that he had given me. And sometimes I give it back to him. I said, don't let the stares of that crocodile stop you from going. He said, you know what, you're right. Mm-hmm. You're right. Mm-hmm. So I cherished those notes, and I kept them as a friend. I packed them up in a box. You know, you have things in terms of your keepsake. And I put them in the box. And it wasn't until after we were married and I'm cleaning up some things that was in the box packed away, and I came across the note cards that he had sent me, beautiful note cards. And I took them out and I framed them and I added it to the collection of paintings that we have in the house. So as people come by, they say, oh, isn't that a beautiful card? And I'd say, yes. Yes, because I remember the note that was inside.
That's nice of you to share it with your guests.
No,
when they
thank
come
you.
in.
It's important that things that are that you hold on to them.
And that shows that you were friends first.
We were friends.
You were very good friends.
We were very good
before you got married.
Yes, we were friends for 15 years.
Really?
We worked on the college campus, and we were friends for 15 years.
And then you got married? How long did you know him when you got married?
It must have been we got married in 2005.
Oh, so it
Oh,
wasn't
so
that long
she's still a
ago.
newlywed.
Yeah, 2005.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
So a long courtship.
it's just friendship. You know, there wasn't there's just friendship. You know, we would talk when we were on campus. Maybe we'd go out for lunch. We'd come back. Sit in the same group in meetings because we worked as a division. So the division was a very tightly knit group of people. And one day, it was the summer, and I came to the college campus to do something, and I noted that he was still there. Everyone else was gone, and I said to him, Professor Wantani, why are you here sitting in the stuffy office? Students are gone, but you're still sitting here. He said, well, this is my job. I said, well, you want to go to lunch? And so he did. So we went to lunch and we just really started talking on just socially. And we remained that way for a long time. If he had an issue, then he would know to come to me. The notes kept coming, and the notes would come.
Sounds like he was a little shy.
He is. He's very
Reserved?
reserved.
Yeah.
Very reserved. So I probably am the one who is more of the challenge, more of the outgoing one.
Well, yeah, you asked him to lunch.
I asked him to lunch, yes. Yes.
Well, I'm sure you're glad you did.
I'm very glad that I did.
Because he probably would never have asked you. He'd just keep giving you notes.
He
Keep
wouldn't.
passing notes under that door.
A friend of mine said to me one day, she said, Lynda, do you like him? And I said, yes. She said, well, what are you going to do about it? And I said, I'm not going to do anything about it. We're just friends. She said, somebody else will take him. And I said, get out of here. So she said, what are you going to do about it? And I just said, I don't know, but I'll think about it. And then we got to the point where he did ask me, and I just continued to procrastinate about it until she came back to me again. She said, Lynda, I'm warning you, if you don't do something about that, somebody's going to take him from you. And so I went and I asked him, are you still interested in marrying me? And he said yes.
Oh,
so I asked him.
beautiful.
I asked.
So
That's
let's
nice.
fast forward now. You're married, and you've met your mother-in-law who you fell in love with, and you decided you were going to travel by yourself to go visit her. Tell us that story.
Let me tell you, just back up a little bit. When I lost my mom, I was 29 years old. And so when she came into my life, it was like, oh, I now have a mom. And at the time that she came into my life, she was about 79 years old. She traveled with her sister from Cameroon here, and she stayed with us for 9 months. And so we got an opportunity to bond.
Yes.
Bond. She spoke no English, and I spoke no Lamso, which is the basic language there. But we use a lot of gestures. You know, you want to eat? I've had enough. I want some more. So we've done all those things that I normally would do with children, so we got to know. When she left, I decided that, you know, I really missed her, you know, and I wanted to see her. So I went to my husband and I said, I'm going to Cameroon. And he said, by yourself? And I said, yes. And? And so I got my ticket and I left and I went to Cameroon because I wanted to see my mom. That's my mom, you know, and I needed to see her. I needed to be with her. I needed the things that she provided for me when she was living with me for the 9 months. So I left.
Well, that also gave you the opportunity to explore the Cameroon culture and get to know more about your husband's upbringing and the other people that he knew at the time. And
that's right. I didn't know anyone other than my mom. I had a relative who picked me up from the airport. I didn't know him either because we never spoke on the phone. We never wrote. All I knew is that Sully had called him to tell him that I was coming, and he said, don't worry, I'm going to pick up my auntie. So when I got off Air France and I'm coming down the gateway to meet the people out there, I'm looking around in the people, and I'm saying, now how am I going to know who this man is? And so you look at the eyes of people, because that's the core of the matter, and see if there's some type of recognition, because that person is looking back at you. So when I finally got halfway down and I'm looking, I mean, many people there, because it's different there than it is here. You get to see the people as immediately as you get off the plane. And I'm looking, and then all of a sudden, I looked in the eyes of this young man, and he looked back at me and he screamed, Auntie! And it's like, yes!
oh, that's beautiful.
Found him. Found him, he found me. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
That is beautiful. So tell us about your clothing, and also, does that tie in with being a ja?
Yes, it does.
A ja, which
Yes.
in German means yes.
Well, in Cameroon, in the cultures of Cameroon, it's ja is a queen mother. So I basically learned when I went to see my mom, because where they met me, we were up above on a ledge, and further down was an area that's very beautiful. So after I greeted her and everyone's laughing and we're joyously, you know, having a good time, they ushered me down to the lower area and to what I know now to be as the Palace Court. And there I was given the title of a ja. And I
Why?
was given that title because my husband's father belonged, as a part of the Palace Court. He had gone off to India to fight in the war. He came back, but then he lost his life, not as a result of the war, but other situations that happened in Cameroon. So his title, my father-in-law's title of a shufai, was handed down to my husband as a shufai, which is the upper level of the Palace Court, where they make decisions, and really serious decisions about what happens. And so from there I was given the title of ja. Didn't know what that meant, but I had to grow into it. And so they gave me all of the instruments that I needed in order for me to go out into the community so people would see me and would recognize me without asking a question. So I decided today what I would do is, as that ja, as that queen mother, I would wear the attire that I would normally wear when I'm going out to the market. I would go out to the market or any place that I go, so that no one would have to ask me a question. There, no one can come and greet me the way I can greet you or hug you the way I can hug you, and kiss you the way I would normally. They cannot come because of the fact that I wear cowries. Cowries are indicative of the fact that I'm a queen mother, and stay away.
Oh.
The head attire is the attire of the palace court. And so as a result of that, people will know even from a distance that that's a ya. And so folks would come to see me, and they would genuflect, and they would do what they need to do. Sometimes I have a very difficult time because you have the older women who, as I pass, they would actually bow, and for me it's really difficult. And whereas they can't touch me, I can touch them. So a lot of times I get a mother who is really very old, and she's giving me respect. I will go down to her level and I'll pick her up.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's
I'll
nice.
pick her up.
That's a beautiful
because
gesture.
I can't do that, because I can't do that. I can't allow that to happen. Anyone else, okay? But no, not the older women that I see in the marketplace. You can see them whispering, and they can see them genuflecting, and you can see them saying good evening, good afternoon, yeah. And I will mouth it back, or else I'll just smile, and then I'll go up to them and I'll just give them a hug. I can do that, but they can't do that to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's nice.
I'm a people person.
Yeah.
And so I have a difficult time, but it works for me.
So you got that as a result of your family connection through marriage.
Yes.
That's how you got that.
And I guess they respected me enough to know that. I mean, this is sight unseen.
Right.
So it says something about the line of my father-in-law, my husband, who chose me. Oh, I asked him, but it chose me.
It's okay, we won't tell anyone.
No.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. And so it says something in the character of what they've seen. The amazing thing for me was when I got there, it's not that somebody had to write anything for me, because it was like a scroll that was already done. But who knew that I was coming? No one knew.
Well, we talked about that, Lori. It was hysterical. I talked about how, this morning when we were sitting outside having our coffee, and this chipmunk jumped up on a hand that I have on my wall, and he's like, excuse me, it's empty. There's no water in here, and I need my drink. So I went out and I poured water in all the hands, and the next thing I know, these turkeys, mother turkeys, show up with their little babies, and everybody's coming to drink water. And I said, do they have cell phones under these feathers or something? How does anybody know? And so you're talking about you show up there, and there's this huge party, and you're wondering, how did they know?
I didn't tell anyone. My husband only told Austin to pick me up. Yeah, no one knew, but they knew. So the scroll was already written, typed, stamped, and it's, that's fascinating for me. And as I go, it doesn't make any difference if I'm going. I think I'm going in a very clandestine way. And yet when I finally reach a place, somebody already knew that I was coming.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
That's nice. Now, you also had a very traditional wedding.
Yes,
and we
I
have
did.
some beautiful pictures to show you,
Yes.
which we will, out of this album
Yes.
that she had put together.
Yes. I got
So
married
tell
here
us.
in the United States, in my
Right,
backyard.
in your backyard.
Yeah. In your
But you were all in traditional dress.
We were all in traditional
And it's
dress.
so beautiful, and we'll show you
And we
some
will show you
photographs.
Yes.
But that was, now where did the priest come from who married you? Was he from Africa?
Yes, the young man, he's a young man. Because my husband was the person who's getting married, my husband passed down the baton, so to speak, to a young man very brilliant young man, who took over and officiated the wedding in the traditional manner. He has a degree in philosophy, so he knew the culture. And he performed the ceremony as I normally would see at home. And it was really a very exquisite thing. And he kind of like ad-libbed a little bit, but it was absolutely beautiful.
When you said at home just now, did you mean Cameroon?
Yes.
See, isn't that
Yes.
funny? That you've really
That's-
made that
That's home.
bridge. You've
That's
crossed
home.
that bridge.
That's home for me.
Yeah.
And I say to people, I'm going home, and they know that I'm not going to Howard. I'm going home. You know, and one of the things as an African American woman, we need to understand we've come from someplace first. And for me, I'm trying to find exactly where my line came from. I believe that everyone knows, other people know, but as an African and an African American, one does not know. One has to do DNA tests, one has to do this, and one has to do that. But within my soul, no one can tell me that I didn't come from Cameroon, because things don't happen by accident.
Soul memories.
So, yes. So I'm still searching as I go back to Cameroon and call it home, because it is home. It is home. It's where everything is alive and fluid for me. And I come back and say, okay, now I have to readjust, because it is a little different.
Well, we've all traveled a lot. The three of us have traveled a lot all over the world. But there are some places that you go to and you just say, wow, this feels like home. This feels great. I
feels
love this
wonderful.
place. And you've never been there before.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's
I
that
can take
kind of
off my
thing.
shoes. I can walk. I can do a lot of things that, why am I doing this like that?
So let's take a few steps back into your past. You were raised in the inner city, and you have inner city family values that just absolutely fascinated me, because this is something that's actually in the news right now. We're hearing so much about what's going on in the inner city, and the world is going, what is happening? So share your values with us. You talked about being accountable.
Yes, and I didn't share with you the fact that I've come from two sides. My grandparents, my grandfather on my grandparents on my father's side are from the British West Indies, and they're from Montserrat. So, and then on my mother's side, they are Native Americans, you know, Cherokee and Blackfoot. So their values from both sides have come into play in terms of children. And so my grandparents on my father's side from the British West Indies, they have the value of we all need to sit down and eat, and we pray, and you know, we wait for somebody. And I should say the same thing would happen in my Native American side, but it's different because there were women on the Native American side, there were no men. On my grandfather's, on the other side of the British West Indies, I had a grandma and a granddad, and yet it was very, very different. But yet, the core values of who we are and culturally what it is you should do and the respectability, and it was very, very important. You give an account to where you're going. You ask for permission. I'd like to be able to go, and even right now I have to ask for permission, even if I'm in Cameroon. Can I leave now, please? So the values, how you should behave, was instilled in us. How your character, who are you representing? You're representing people behind you. And I think that in this day and time, as an early childhood educator, we've lost that. Parents kind of like send their children out. I've walked a community where I'm by myself, or maybe my brother and I, we've gone miles and miles and miles away. And the expectation is when the sun comes, you know, is coming down, then you think you should make your way home. So that was instilled in us. Here on Cape Cod, when we were here, there were no roads. There are no roads. Queen Anne Road? Queen Anne? What is that? Oak Street? What is that? It was just a cow path. And so in the morning, you know, we had to do our chores. You need to make sure you make your bed, make sure you have breakfast, make sure you clean up, and the best thing to do after that is to leave the house. And that's exactly what we did. We left the house. And I remember walking down in Bank Street on the ocean. We'd be there all day. But we know that there's a certain time that they're going to look for us, and we would never go astray.
Yeah, you talked about how you did not talk to strangers. You met your family's expectations, and you accepted consequences. Do you want to tell us that story about your aunt? I was laughing so hard.
That's yes, and so I don't remember what I did. And she sent me out into the yard and said, go get a switch off the tree. I was like, oh.
That sounds like bad news.
It's like, yeah, well, what I did wasn't really nice. And so she said, and don't bring me a little one. Make sure you bring me a nice long one, and make sure that it's sturdy. Make sure it has a bend in it. And on your way back, make sure that you strip all the bark off of it. And I'm trembling. It's like, I've done something wrong. I've done things that I shouldn't have done. So I took this stick back to my my Nana, and so she said to me, okay. And so I'm standing there and saying, and so she said, okay, now go play.
She just wanted to scare you.
Because the anticipation did it.
And it really
Yeah.
did. Yeah. And it really did. Yeah.
Well, you were given responsibility, and then you had accountability.
Exactly. And I believe that the children now, and the children that I see, they're not given that. They're talking to their parents, telling their parents what it is that they would like. Parents, and I believe maybe because of the consequences that I believe parents will suffer as a result of holding firm to your core values or your family values, that they're diminishing. And children need to have guidance. Teach a child the way they should go, and they'll never go astray. And it's that teaching. You know, that's an encouragement. I think that's the only time that you really teach. You asked me a question about teaching. I don't teach children, I nurture children. Nurture children to wholeness, nurture children into understanding, guiding them, playing. Play is the vehicle by which everyone learns. So let me role model and let me be. And I think a lot of parents are not able to do that because of the demands of this world.
No, I don't have children, but I have a niece and a nephew who I watched grow up, and of course I had to babysit. But I noticed that the more attention I paid them, the more I played with them, the more I got involved in what they were doing, the better behaved they were. I never had to say a crossword to them, ever. They always did what I asked them to do. And I think it's that. It's the more you show them that you love them, that you will interact with them, that you're interested, they love that.
I have a book when I teach guidance and discipline. There's a book, Guiding Children Without Yelling and Spanking.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's a very nice but very short book, and it's true. You're absolutely right, because now you're engaged with them, and you're talking, and you're sharing who you are, and you know you're being that leader, and yet you're giving them an opportunity to do some of the things in which you will follow. So it's a give and take in both of those situations. And that's how we run the Child Care Center, in the same manner. You have to play. And it's very difficult for adults to play. It's very difficult even for the staff that I have. I teach in the college community, and my position as a senior lecturer of the early childhood education program at Roxbury Community College is to get my students to learn how to play.
Yeah.
Play.
Yeah, it's
Play.
really important.
It's universal.
It's universal.
You don't even have to have a language. You just do it.
No, Play-Doh, flour and water. Remember that flour and water?
Oh yeah, that's
flour and
super.
water.
You know when you ran out of paper, you just ate the rest of it.
Exactly.
Well, we want to thank you so much for being with us, Lynda V. Allen Wantani today. And we hope that you will come back and let us know what you're doing, where you're going, and who you're doing it with.
Sure.
This was so interesting.
Sure, I appreciate it.
We really appreciate all of our audience for watching today, and you can learn more about Lori and I if you go to our Facebook, Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod, and our personal Facebook pages. Mine is Kathleen O'Keefe Kanavos, and Lori, yours is?
Lori Boyle Show. I have a show, and so does Kat Kanavos Show, and that is a video show that goes live on YouTube on Monday nights.
So join us again on the Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod. We're so glad you were with us, and have a great week.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining Lori Boyle and Kathleen Kat O'Keefe Kanavos on Wicked Housewives on Cape Cod. Don't forget to like us on Facebook for our show updates and join us next time when we showcase more everyday heroes.